we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny?
Does that sound fine?
What's the boogeyman?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Metal and Horror Podcast, the podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but are not afraid to shit on both of them. So, I'm Mike.
Good job.
Yeah.
I'm Matt. Okay, we're getting better at this. We're getting better at this.
We're definitely getting better at this.
Yeah. It sucks, though, because I keep hoping one of us is going to fuck up so that I can create some opening scene that's goofy as shit. But, I mean, ultimately, you do something enough, you get better at it. I screwed it up the last 2 times pretty bad, but doesn't matter. So me and Mike sat here and talked for quite a long time before we started recording about this film because there's just so much to say, man. There's so much to say.
Yeah.
Like this film came out of nowhere, and as far as I can tell, did not get as much of an advertising campaign as what you would expect for horror films. Like it's either you heard about it or you didn't. And my God, for 2025 so far, horror movie wise, I have not seen a better one. I haven't. This movie has everything, and doesn't skimp on story. It doesn't skimp on character building. It's just a brilliant film. I have a really, really, really hard time finding something to criticize in this film.
Me too. For me, the same. Because I watched it yesterday. Yeah, pretty much. I think yesterday when I watched it, and I mean, we talked about it before recording, and I do think that this, up till now, is one of the best horror movies of 2025, and I still think also one of the best. I mean, I would say really one of the best vampire movies that have been made specifically this year and so far. And I do actually see, in 20 years, this being a movie that every vampire fan or horror fan is going to remember. Absolutely. Because it's just, I was saying from beginning to end, it's actually really great. No?
No, I mean, you would have to be someone that, I don't know. I don't know who could really criticize this movie. You'd have to be someone who was just out to watch horror movies for a specific thing, like gore. Like if you're the type of person that goes into a movie that's horror and you're like, oh, it sucked because there wasn't enough gore, then okay, fine. But in my opinion, you're probably watching horror movies for the wrong reason. Like gore is a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Like there's tons of really, really gory movies where the gore is done really well.
Yeah.
That suck. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few. This is not one of those. Everything in this movie feels like it was placed there, not necessarily in good taste, but just to drive the story forward, give enough surprise.
Yeah.
And kind of just give the audience the best experience they could give. I mean, this is a brilliant piece of work, and I'm so shocked that I didn't really hear about it before this. Like, this is a movie that we had a guest that was going to come on, but just like everybody knows, with metal musicians, things come up. You have a show that you didn't expect, or you have songwriting or something like that that comes up, and we expect that. So what we have to do then is say, okay, the guest is not going to make it. What movies are on our list? And Mike was like, well, there is this new one that came out that's not necessarily on the list yet. We should probably just do that one. And so we did it. And I'm just now coming off of seeing this movie an hour ago. Like, I just finished it. And normally I would like more time. I would like more time to digest a movie like this so that I could give a more proper talk on it.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
quite honestly, the movie. Go ahead.
Now that it's on Plex, I think sometime I have to watch it again because it's just so amazing. But
dude, it's fucking great.
One thing
that is the other thing.
Yeah, one thing I want to start with. No? we had this discussion at Stefan's party on Saturday, no? Where I asked you, no? The guy that played the crazy blonde Jimmy in 28 Days Later is in this movie. Did you recognize which character he was?
He is the main vampire guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I got that. I got that immediately, and I think it's just because of his face. He's got a very easily
He
recognizable
does.
face.
And by the way, this is to me still one of the most interesting characters in the entire movie. Literally. I mean, on so many levels.
Yes, for a lot of reasons.
I could talk for hours specifically only about this character.
Yeah.
Because he at the one side he's purely fucking evil what he's doing, but on the other side you can understand him, and then is he actually evil? That's the discussion.
That is a credit to the storytelling, right?
Exactly.
That is an absolute credit to the storytelling. You're right.
Because the brilliant thing about it is, from his perspective, he's not killing anybody. All of these people he's slaughtering, he's not killing them. He's giving them immortal life.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, just to go in, because to foreshadow a little bit, how it comes to be is when the vampire stuff in the movie starts, you see, I'm just going to call him Master Vampire. I can't remember his character's name. Everything about the character except for his fucking name. He runs towards a house where a sun is coming up. The door opens up, and a woman points a gun at him. And he after a few a short conversation, manages to convince the girl to let him in. Then a few Native Americans come running up with a wagon that were chasing him. And they're like, "Hey, lady, we're in pursuit of this extremely dangerous guy. He's not what he appears to be, and blah, blah, blah. And God forbid, please tell me you didn't let him into your home or whatever." And she kind of wises them off, because you can clearly already get that vibe that this woman is pretty fucking racist. So, of course, when they leave, she slams the door, calling her husband, I think she says something like, the Indians were there again. So, yeah, right? She's a fucking racist, So, but then she can't find her husband. And you go back to her husband, and then you see, the massive vampire sitting there, blood all over himself. Totally fucking chill. And she's, freaking out. And he's like, nah, it's fine. He's just resting. Everything's cool. And then her husband gets up, is now a vampire. Is like, oh, hey, babe. And this is the brilliant thing. The main characters that are played by Michael B. Jordan and Stack and Smoke, there are two brothers that worked for Al Capone in Chicago and have now returned home. And now they returned home with a lot of money, and they want to start their own bar where live music and all of that for their community. Exactly. And Stack and Smoke buy this new venue from some other rich guy. What they at the moment don't know is that this rich guy is a member of the KKK. And
another thing we didn't mention is that these two main characters are also black.
Yeah, of course. The majority of the characters
are. Mike, we also didn't say what the movie was.
Oh, fucking shit.
I just let you talk. It's okay. I don't mind that, because it's kind of a building anticipation. Like, everybody's watching and they're like, "Oh my God, this movie sounds interesting as shit." And then we still haven't said the name of it. Mike, what movie are we doing today?
We're doing Sinners. Sinners or Blood and Sinners, depending on wherever you look at, because on some platforms it's called Sinners, and other platforms are called Blood and Sinners. Main characters are Michael B. Jordan. He plays two characters in this movie. And basically, to continue where I left off, the characters played by Michael B. Jordan, Stack and Smoke, they buy this venue from this rich old white guy. And, well, he's a racist piece of shit, just like a lot of people in his community. And because this is just like you say, Jim Crow times, a lot of people are insanely racist towards people of color.
1932, yep.
1932, and the KKK is still active, and that kind of stuff.
Another important thing to mention here too, just to kind of set this in a historical context, is not just the fact that it's Jim Crow time in terms of laws, and Black people are starting to come into their own, and they're starting to be allowed to be the same thing that white people are at this era. This is also after World War I. Yeah. No. These two guys are soldiers. So the thing about them is that they're coming back out of a war where they had to do these horrible, terrible things that most human beings don't have to do. Got back and realized that their community deserved more, and that there was a way to be something bigger and better by using violence. And that's exactly what they do. They go to work for Al Capone in Chicago. They're gangsters. They make a lot of money. And then on top of that, they steal money and booze and everything else from both sides of that society. So they're stealing from the Irish, and they're stealing from the Italian mob. And so that's where they're getting their money. So they're not necessarily on the run from that gangster community, but they've gotten out of that because they have spoils of that war, the gangster war, basically, that was going on at that time. And they're bringing it back to set up their community. And that was kind of their plan all along. So they have this know-how, and they are kind of rough and gruff guys because they are gangsters. And they were soldiers before that. So they're completely okay with violence. And that's kind of what I wanted to get across, because if you see these guys popping up out of nowhere and they're just gangsters, Black men during the Jim Crow era is kind of strange unless you put it in some type of context. And that's why I wanted to bring that up. They're tough dudes.
You have like now the Master Vampire, turned the husband, and obviously he's going to attack the wife. But still, at this point, you're not entirely sure what he's going to do. But then, this is the thing what actually makes the Master Vampire interesting, because these two people were a part of the white racist community,
Yeah, KKK specifically, because we saw the uniform in their house when he first came to the door,
Exactly, KKK, from the KKK. And this is how the Master Vampire found out that the KKK were going to slaughter Stack Smoke and everybody that was in that venue, because they knew what they wanted to use it for. And that's what was specifically what made this character interesting, because once he turned those two, he knew everything that they knew, because vampires, specifically if they're blood related, have a telepathic connection. And to a certain degree, you could say that this Master Vampire, because he's a fucking old vampire, if you pay attention to things happening, he can, I guess, control to a certain degree the other vampires. From his perspective, he goes to this venue. From his perspective, he's not killing anybody. He's saving them all.
Yeah.
Because he knows a lot of racist people are going to come and slaughter them. So he's just going to come and make all of them immortal. And then they have the fucking numbers. And then they can go over and slaughter them. So it's just one of those things that makes, even though this guy is doing the most horrible shit, you can say to a degree, it's still hard to just see him as evil, but that's what makes this character.
I didn't see him as evil the entire film. I mean, so as you said, the opening was, him running when there's daylight out. He's running to a house, right? And he's covered in blood and looks all fucked up. And he goes to the door, like you said, and says, "Hey, I got jumped by some Indians," is what he says, Native Americans, and they're Choctaw. And these guys tried to take all my money, but they didn't get all of it. Here, you can have what's left of it. Just put me up in your house and let me in so that they don't catch me. Of course, this is your first hint. He's a vampire because he has to be let in. He can't just come in, right?
Well, actually, that's not the first hint, because he's run. The sun is going up, and he's running, and you can see smoke coming up of his skin, and he's burning.
I didn't catch the smoke the first time.
Okay. You can see
Okay.
him running towards the house. The sun has just went up, and he's starting to burn. That's what actually told me he's a vampire.
Do you think
Yeah.
do you think you would have caught that if you didn't know that the movie was about vampires? Because this is one of the things I want to talk about with this movie. Like,
For me, that to me would have specifically been the first thing.
okay,
That's if I did not know this was a vampire movie, that would have been the first thing. That would hint to me that he's a vampire because he's
okay,
running. You can see smoke coming off of him, and it's not steam; it's smoke. No.
yeah.
What is the number
So,
one
if I didn't
creature
have,
that can't that I mean, that's from my hint. What is the number one creature that burns in sunlight?
it would be vampires. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
but like I said, I didn't notice the smoke. I was watching it and I didn't notice it, even though I knew the movie was about vampires. But
yeah,
I think I said I didn't have one criticism for the film, and this is not necessarily a criticism, Mike. It's not a criticism. I just wish they had done this opening scene as a flashback because what they do at the beginning of the film is give away the fact that this film is about vampires. And I didn't notice that because I went into this film knowing it was about vampires. But had I not known it was about
yeah,
vampires, this scene of him coming into the house and turning the husband into a vampire would have given it all away. And it did. It gave it all away. I wish they had done that as a flashback.
yeah.
Because if
Okay.
you hadn't seen that scene, every part of this film up until the time that vampires pop up out of nowhere, you would not have expected it. But whatever. I mean, small criticism, not really a criticism.
Yeah, yeah,
These two characters, Smoke and Stack, right? So another
yeah.
thing that I didn't realize, and this is just a big testament to how well this film does. I know who Michael B. Jordan is. I've seen a bunch of his movies, and I really like the actor. Like he's really fucking good in everything that he does.
Yeah, he is.
I did not realize he was playing two characters here. I thought this was another character, like another actor that just looked a
Yeah,
lot like him, but it's actually him playing both characters, right? Like,
yeah.
good fucking job.
I mean, I think it was. I mean, you did have the feeling, but of course, I knew it was Michael B. Jordan because I know Michael B. Jordan does not have a twin brother,
Yeah,
and
right.
this is way beyond look-alike. I mean, he looks exactly the same. So, of course, obviously, he's playing two different.
Except for a few things. I mean, there's a
What?
few things in their faces that they do different. For
Yeah,
instance, haircut is different. One of them's got different facial hair, and then I think it's Smoke has two gold teeth up front, whereas
yeah.
Stack doesn't. He's got like normal teeth. So there's a few differences in the way the characters look to where you would think, man, these guys look related, but at the same time, maybe it's not the same actor. I didn't know until the end. I was like, fuck, it's been the same actor the whole goddamn time.
Yeah,
Fucking amazing how they did this. This is great. It's fucking
it
seamless.
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Completely seamless. And so you mentioned when they first meet up with the KKK guy that they don't know is the KKK guy that sells them the farm and the big house. The first thing
Mhm.
he asked them is, "Oh, are you guys twins?" Right? And one of the characters says, "Nah, we're cousins," even though they look exactly alike.
Yeah, I mean, what a stupid question. That is like, I mean, that, I mean, yeah, I caught that for me. It's like, I mean, God damn it, I don't know. How can you ask something that? How can you be that stupid? I mean,
I,
of course, this guy's a racist asshole, so of course he's
yeah,
not going to be very bright. But I don't know. But it's just like you see people,
well,
no,
it's also
that,
kind of a racist thing, right? It's also kind of a racist thing. They're playing
yes,
off of a
yes,
racist group
of
because
course,
there's that
of
whole
course,
thing when
but this,
racists are like, "Oh, all black people look alike," or all Asians look alike. That's kind of what that's playing off of. But these
of
guys
course,
actually
of
are
course.
twins.
Yeah, are you guys twins? Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, right about that. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Just it's instant. Yeah, I've already said it. This guy is just a fucking piece of shit. So I mean, the white guy. It's just like, I mean, yeah, yeah,
Uh, so these guys, they're coming back from Chicago, and that's kind of
yeah,
it's something that they're talking about on the way back. They don't necessarily give away the fact that they were working for Al Capone or that they were in that type of business. But this is also the time when alcohol is still illegal in the United States. It's still prohibition time. So they're driving back with a truck that's full of liquor and it's full of alcohol that they're going to sell and make all their money back. And their plan is to come back to their community in Mississippi, where during the Jim Crow time, blacks are still basically being treated as slaves. You're free men. You're free men, free, right? But you still can't do anything on your own. You're still held back by everyone in the white culture. You're still treated as a second-rate citizen. And so what they want to do is come back to where they came from and give their community and the people in it a better life and an ability to kind of step out of that life that they're in and escape it for a little while. And that sentiment is echoed throughout the film over and over. Even when later, when we get to the venue, when they've started it up, there are people who want to pay for their alcohol at the venue with wooden coins, right? The wooden coins are left over from slavery days, and that's what they used to give their slaves so that if the slaves wanted to go buy something, they could, but they weren't allowed to use actual American currency. So these wooden chips are still going around in use in circulation. And when these guys come to their venue and they want to buy alcohol with these wooden chips, Smoke says, absolutely not. We're not taking any of that shit. It's worthless to us. We want real money. One of the people that works for him has to say, hey, hang on a second. I thought you were doing this because you wanted people that were being held down to be able to step out of that life for a little while and enjoy being free. By telling them they can't use the only currency that they have, you're basically being no better than the white people. So eventually he says, you know what? You're right. They can use the wooden currency. So that's a reoccurring theme here that I really like. So you can say that gangsters are bad people. You can say that people that run and gun for money are bad people. You can say, in turn, that the main vampire guy that we were just talking about is a bad person. But are any of them really? I don't think they are. I think exactly the opposite. I would say, like you said, the main vampire character is actually a good person.
I mean, you would have to see more of the character. We could talk about this for a long. When you come to the gangster stuff about this, specifically the gangsters in these scenarios, this is not typical gangsters. I mean, specifically doing to the time or whatever, and that these are a lot of black people. They did not have any other option. There is situations where you can say these two guys probably did not have any other option to instead of what they did if they want to have some kind of good life. Now, so it's different if you have, like, for me, example, I'm going to bring up Peaky Blinders. I don't care. These people are pieces of shit. They had no, I hated it. I think it's boring. It's one of the most boring shows I've ever seen.
Blinders. Oh, we'll have to talk about that later. But go ahead.
I told you, but don't tell me this is new to you. I told you that I think the show.
I had forgotten that you don't like Peaky Blinders. I
told you that I don't like it. I think it was insanely boring, and every single character in this is a fucking piece of shit. But what I wanted to compare it to is the characters in Peaky Blinders. These are all people that grew up, had money because their families obviously were, gangsters or whatever. Yeah. They had the decision, and they were wealthy to do all of this shit or not. They went to war, came back as veterans, had more than enough money throughout every decision in their life. They had the decision to continue doing this shit or not. That is why, for me, characters in Peaky Blinders, they're evil. I don't care what you tell me. These are typical gangsters that I have very little empathy for in any way. And I do not like watching a show if I hate every single fucking character.
Well, in terms of Peaky Blinders, I cannot argue with you that they were bad people, because they were. Yes, they were bad.
Yeah. Yes, that I mean, for one, the thing is just, when it comes to historical shows, I'm not a fan of historical shows, because if I want to know something about history, I'm going to read a fucking history book or watch a history documentary. I'm not going to watch a fictional show if I want to learn stuff about history. Yeah?
Okay.
And
Fair enough.
it's the same.
Fair enough.
It's the same thing with Game of Thrones. I hate all of the characters and people like, oh yeah, this is realistic, and he's taking actual historical events to do this and this and this. I mean, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to watch a fucking fantasy show if I wanted something about history. I'll read a fucking history book.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
What I
There,
do, by the way, but
go ahead.
but the comparison with Peaky Blinders and Sinners is just two different things, because Stack and Smoke, they live in a time where the majority of the society in first world countries were extremely racist. No, these guys probably didn't have any other option but to become criminal. You can say they were literally forced to do what they had to do. Well, I would not consider these guys to be specifically bad people. I would just say they are a product of their time and of the society
Absolutely.
they lived in.
Absolutely.
That's what I get to.
It's very hard. It's very hard to. There is no black and white, right? So when I say there's no black
Yes.
and white, there's no black and white in your how you can judge people. Like you can't say, "Oh, this person does X, so they're a bad person."
Yeah,
No,
yeah. You don't.
the
You don't
content of a character is judged by their actions throughout time.
yeah. You don't mean black and white when it comes to ethnicity. That's not what
Yep.
you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With these guys, as you said, they're a product of their past. They're a product of the society that they grew up in, and I think this is something that's true to life anywhere. If you look at something for what it's really worth, and say what is the major motivation behind this behavior,
Yeah.
the motivation is either good or evil. That's the only two types of motivations. There's either good or evil. The motivation behind everything that these two characters are doing in this film is positive. It's good
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
wholesome, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can say the same thing about the lead vampire guy too. Depends on how you look at it.
That's what I wanted to get into, because the thing is, if you pay attention throughout the movie, I don't know if you did, there happen multiple things that happened that you can say this is an insanely old vampire, because later on Mary comes out and starts talking to him and the other two people. It turns she doesn't know he's vampires. He says, do you have money? And he says, oh yeah, and he gives her gold coins, and these are like gold coins from the Roman Empire. No?
Right.
So, and this is like, holy fucking shit. No? So you can say this guy is at least 1,500 years old. No? But then later on, something happens when I think Sammy starts to reference, say something out of the Bible. No? And then he looks at him like, oh yeah, I know those words. Even though I hate the people who did it, they bring me comfort. I mean, I remember when I was a young boy, and these people came into our village, slaughter all of our people, and say, oh, it's for God. So that tells you this guy has been around even before Christianity was a big religion. So it's like, holy shit, this guy could be technically,
very old,
2,000 or 3,000 years old. No, so this would also insanely, because what is interesting is the first two people he turned are KKK members and obscenely racist. No?
Right.
And you can clearly see after he turns them how super fast their personality switches.
Yes.
What you can put back to a certain degree is they become vampires, and now they're bloodthirsty monsters, no? Because they're relatively young vampires. But you can also say, because in multiple occasions he says, I have all of their memories and all their thoughts. He is not the typical master vampire that in this situation totally suppresses the personality of the people he turns. He lets them keep their personality. And to a certain degree, they instantly, when they walk up to, they all have music instruments. No?
Yes.
What is not hint that he could that? So obviously they have got super much thing from him. So the memories and feelings that the vampires have is a two-way street, because they have a telepathical situation. So the thing is, when these two people were connected with him, with all of his memories and whatever, they probably learned so much fucking shit that it actually made them realize what kind of people they were.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So that is the next thing that kind of say that, is this guy actually that evil, considering a lot of shit he's walking around? And you could easily understand that this guy would just want to wipe out all of humanity. But he finds throughout these two people that they're going to try to slaughter all of these fucking people of color, this community. And his first thought is, you know what? I'm going to go over there and I'm going to turn them all into vampires. And then we could just kick the ass out of these racist assholes. So,
yeah. And quite honestly, if I was him, I would have thought the exact same thing. I would be like, these guys are trying to do something for a whole community of people who have been repressed their entire lives. And then these people are going to, one, take their money from them, which is their entire savings from their gangster days, for the farm that they bought from them. And then they're going to go in and slaughter them and everybody else there. I have to stop this. And that's exactly what he does. And I love that. I love that. But the thing is, you don't get that at first. You don't get that at first.
Yes.
At first, you think this guy is an evil fucking vampire and he's there to suck the blood of everyone in that community. You don't find out until later in the movie that wasn't his plan at all. And he's actually a very peaceful guy. It's fucking crazy, but I think that is the brilliance of the storytelling. That's the brilliance in the storytelling because you make people think.
This is crazy. What I love about it is you don't get it at first, no, because he attacks multiple people. He technically sucks multiple people, but the fucking thing is, he lets every single one come back as a vampire, and that is specifically what he wants.
Yeah,
because you can see even the vampires that he can control the vampires to a certain degree. None of these vampires actively try to prevent the people they kill from becoming vampires, because that's something that happens in a lot of vampire stories, specifically the master vampire. If it's a story where you become one if you get bit by one, no, they specifically after they kill somebody, they rip their head off or break their neck so they can't come back.
Right.
But that's not what this guy does. Every single person he kills, he wants to turn them, and every other vampire he creates is somehow also not actually killing these people. It is letting them come back.
Right.
Just like you have like this one scene where you have this one vampire really attack him and swinging his bite. The master vampire is standing there like, oh yeah, he was just hungry. Let him finish his thing.
Yeah.
Fucking calm in this scenario specifically, and they're all looking there because this guy is being sucked dry, no? And then he keeps on, starts talking, basically explaining to Stack what his actual motivations are. He was like, yeah, and I know from these two people over there, there's KKK members. They were going to slaughter all of you guys, and I said, like, I have to stop that. I have to help you people. And now that we have the numbers, we can just go over to those idiots and kick the shit out of them. And then
it's a brilliant idea.
After he says that, you see the one guy that was killed come back as a vampire, and he's like, "Oh, welcome, hi, how are you doing? Welcome to the community. Come on, here's your hat." No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, this is all stuff in the movie that doesn't really come into play or come into like, you don't really understand what's going on until kind of towards the end, right?
Yeah.
There's hints about it all the way through it. But one of the things that I really liked about this, and that this like got me, there was a scene in this movie where I actually got a little bit teary-eyed. Like, if you can imagine, right? Because this vampire specifically is very musical. Like, he prizes music over everything else.
Yes.
He kind of sees music, even though this isn't said by him, he kind of sees music as something that's in the blood, that's purely human, that's beautiful, and something to be preserved, right? He himself is very musical. He is specifically drawn to this community at this area where they're having this event because of the music. That, like, obviously he doesn't like what's about to happen to them, and that's why he does something, but also because he finds the music of this culture beautiful, right? And there's a scene in this movie once Smoke and Stack have kind of put the venue together and people are coming in and singing and spending money and stuff like that. where you see people dancing in the mix in the group of people that are not actually there, right?
Yeah.
It's all black
Yeah.
people, and there's an Asian couple that are there, right? So it's the community of non-white people that are together that are playing music. And so you see visions of these people dancing in the crowd in the venue that are not from that time era. And they're not actually there, but what they're doing is they're showing the music and the power that it's had throughout culture and throughout time. You have Native Americans dancing in full dress. You have uh, uh, I'd say probably a black guitar player from the B.B. King
Yeah.
era of New
I think
Orleans.
we'd say 70s.
He's in the middle playing,
Probably.
and you just see the 70s, probably 70s, yeah. Um, you just generally see what type of effect music has had on culture and what it means to people that are oppressed, right? And I think that's the underlying theme here is
Yeah.
that through music, you can say what you want to say and you can live another life through music, even when you're absolutely repressed. Music is one of the only things that throughout culture, no matter where it is or how hard the people of that culture have had to live, music has endured, right? And they show that here in this scene, and it's a beautiful scene. I love this scene. It goes on for a little while, and you kind of get the feeling, okay, so music is something that stands out in humanity. This is the one thing that we have that makes us purely human. And the fact that he's a vampire and treasures this stuff makes him so much more human than you originally saw him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Totally.
also everybody he turns them not just into vampires, but he turns them into people who are also now musicians. Everybody can play an instrument. Everybody can sing. It's fucking cool, dude. It's really fucking.
Because it's just like when he turns people and they have this telepathic connection. That is like the main thing he gives all to him is his talent, his memories, and how much he perishes music. Because just like you say, instantly everybody that gets turned by him has a musical talent. What he specifically gives them, no, and that's just
Yeah.
on so much levels. It's just like this character. This is one of the. I'm going to be honest. This is one of the most interesting vampires I have ever seen in any vampire movie or story because you clearly have a master vampire spawn situation going on here. And in the majority of stories, when you have a master vampire, all other vampires are blindly loyal to him. In some situations, the master vampire just flat out just totally suppresses their personality to the point where they're just mindless followers. The Strain, for example, is a vampire series that does that very good. Great series, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but that is also, huh? You seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a vampire series that does also that. It leans into the master vampire thing. Not all vampire stories do it, but of course, you could say to agree if you go to the vampire lore, can he even do it? Could he technically even suppress their personality, or is it just that all vampires from one bloodline share a telepathical connection? But considering the fact that this is typical vampire lore, I'm going to assume he technically could do it. No?
He could, but he doesn't appear to want to. He appears to just want to like give the gift of knowledge, basically, is what he's
Yes.
doing. He's
Yeah.
giving a gift of knowledge, and immediately people see the error of their ways and they change personality wise into kind of a thinking that's very old. Like the only
Yes.
way that you could have
It's
the
crazy. It's
knowledge to
crazy.
know that that kind of behavior and that type of thinking is by being old and understanding that that type of thing does not work in cultures. It doesn't work. Racism doesn't work, you know?
Yeah, and as we can already say, this vampire is probably, I don't know, he's at least 1 to 3,000 years old,
Easily, yeah.
and at least, or maybe even older. You don't know because it's never really said how old he is. No, and yeah, just that he technically could suppress their personalities, but doesn't do it. It just gives like art, music, culture, and to everybody he turns is. It is mind blowing, and that is the next thing. How totally heavy this entire movie leans into music. You know, and specifically blues music. And I mean, any metal musician that says that blues music sucks is, in my opinion,
Sorry.
I mean, you don't specifically have to like it, but I mean, you know how much music today specifically came from blues music? Blues music led into rock and roll. Rock and roll led into hard rock and stuff like that. No, you have like blues music also to a certain degree led into jazz.
Yep.
Jazz, by the way, no, developed into heavy metal and on and on and on.
Mhm.
And that all came from the black community and from blues music. Yeah.
Exactly. As
So it,
metalheads, as
yeah.
metalheads, if you, and I've had this conversation plenty of times, if you say that you don't like jazz, you don't like bluegrass, you don't like blues, that's fine. You can dislike it all you want, but that is where we came from. That is where the thing that we love the most, heavy metal, came from. Without the black community, without all that oppression, without the slavery, without all those horrible things that happened, we wouldn't have the music that we enjoy today. Like this is from that. So if you're a racist and you're a metalhead, I don't know what to tell you. You're just a fucking moron. Like you have no place in this community at all.
For me, no either. It's just like because every single person that loves rock, that loves heavy metal in any kind of a way, we can all thank that to the black community because
Yeah.
it all came from blues, and those were the people who made blues.
Yeah.
And without the black community and blues, I mean, I would even say the majority of modern music genres you can thank blues for. No,
Yeah.
but that's only my opinion, you know. So
Well, no, it's not just your opinion. It's true. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people. This is a discussion that goes down a rabbit hole. But
yeah,
if you talk to people about this thing, there's a lot of misinformation, right? And maybe it's a good thing to talk about because this movie explores it the entire time. There's a lot of misinformation. A lot of people that like rock or what you would consider the darker side of music came from blues. It did. The blues were called the blues because it came from an era of depression. It came from an era of people being held back, held down by the man or by white people. There's a lot of suffering that went into that music. There's a lot of anger that went into that music. And that's where you got that style of downtoned music that was also happy in a way, but talked about the darker side of life. That is no different than what heavy metal is today. And it came specifically from that. It did. That is how that was born. Ozzy Osbourne, when he first created Black Sabbath and did what he did, it was depressing from the very beginning.
rest in peace, by the way. No,
Yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, of course. Still can't believe that, but whatever.
yeah,
Anyway, when he first started Black Sabbath, there are songs on the very first album that are blues songs. It's not heavy metal. It's blues. If you listen to The Wizard is a
yeah.
very bluesy, folksy, southern sounding song. And that was on the Black Sabbath album, which started heavy metal. So there is an actual modern direct link to the blues in heavy metal. And so you have to acknowledge that the suffering that these people went through and the things that they put up with throughout generations of oppression created the music that we enjoy today. And that is on showcase in this film. And if you're not a vampire fan or a horror
Absolutely.
fan,
Yeah.
if you're a heavy metal fan, you need to watch the movie. You need to watch the movie because it explores all of that. It talks about the roots of music. It talks about how important music is to the soul, to culture, to just our way of life as human beings. And this is the only movie so far that I've seen that really explains it without having to say too many words.
Yeah, because that's even how the movie starts out. No,
Yeah,
the movie starts out
exactly.
specifically leaning into music. No, saying that there were always certain people in different cultures or whatever, and they were so musically talented that their music could draw the spirits from the other realm and stuff
Right.
like that. No, did you see like them portraying different cultures or whatever, and then it ends, of course, in blues. No, because that is the entire when it comes to music specifically, blues is the overall main thing throughout everything in this movie. No, Because even you have to say to a degree, if, just like you said, if you did not know this was a vampire movie, you would go through the first hour of it thinking this is basically a movie about blues. Because before the vampire stuff in this movie starts, it's just basic. It's blues. You have like these two guys, no, that come back, want to start a blues bar, no, in their community for their people, no, and then they're like Hollywood do, and need people to do music or whatever, and they're basically just getting their crew together, no, and then they weren't entirely sure how to do the music until like their younger cousin, I think was Stack in there, no, his younger cousin has a guitar. He's like, oh, why do you play something for me? No? Okay, and then he starts playing something because I think
Yeah,
Stack,
that's Sammy. That's actually the main character of the film besides the two
yeah,
brothers.
Sammy, exactly. He's the main character. However,
Yeah.
Stack tells Sammy to play this, start playing something on the guitar because Stack did not know, apparently at this point, that Sammy could play an instrument. No, so
Right.
so then Sammy starts playing something on the guitar, and Stack is sitting there like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, and pretty good. And then Sammy starts singing, and he has an amazing singing voice. No, and you instantly see the reaction of that, like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
But it's
and that's the power music has. That's the cool
but,
thing about this film is that these
exactly.
guys, I'm not really sure that the two brothers really appreciated music the way that everybody else did or even thought about it until that moment. When he pulled out the guitar and started playing for him while he was riding the car, that expression on his face, on Stack's face, was just...
You can see, but Stack specifically for another reason, no, because you can see, no, shortly after that, a few seconds, you could see the dollar signs in his eyes, and then he goes,
Of course.
we're gonna earn a lot of fucking money with you.
Yeah.
His motivation is clear. I mean, with the other guy, Smoke, not necessarily, but Stack, oh, yep.
Yeah.
It could also
He was
be
like,
Smoke.
absolutely.
I could I'm getting these characters a little bit confused. Smoke and Stack. No?
It's okay. I mean, so Stack is the brother who's more about money more than anything. I mean, they're both characters are very drawn to money. They want money because money is important to getting the community back together and giving people a better life, right? Smoke, on the other hand, is less about that. You get the feeling like he's more of a gangster than the other guy is because he's a lot harder too. He's a tougher personality. But yeah, one of them's major motivation is money. The other one is going back and giving something back to the community. I don't think either of them had the idea that music would be the way to do it until they picked up Sammy, right? They picked up Sammy because Sammy is the son of a preacher on a plantation that used to exist. And his father has a church, and his father says to him, and this is also in the opening of the movie, he's in the church and he tells his son, he says, hey, I want you to be here for the service this Sunday because I'd like you to witness to the congregation and talk. And Sammy says, well, I mean, I've got something I got to go do first. I've been working really hard. I need to go into the city and play some music. And his dad says, watch out, son, because that is the way to the devil. The devil, if you continue to play for people in nightclubs and you continue to be around drinking and gambling and all this stuff, the devil is going to come for you one of these days. And the father lets him go with his cousins because his cousins are there to pick him up, Smoke and Stack. And they pick him up, and the only purpose of them picking him up was to bring him to this place to experience it. The idea was not originally for him to play. But once he gets in the car and plays for Stack, Stack is like dollar signs. So now this has become about, okay, we're going to make a shitload of money off of all of this alcohol that we've stolen. And we're going to do something for the community, but we're going to make even more money because now we're going to make this about music. And that's what they do.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah. And so the next scene that you get is Smoke and Stack and Sammy, and they're driving around to go to these different areas around Mississippi to find friends of theirs that are all musical, right? And so they go to a train station first off, and they meet up with another character who's sitting outside playing a harmonica. brilliant harmonica player. He's just sitting there at the train station playing. People are giving him money. They say, "Hey, how you doing? It's been a long time since we've seen you. We've got an idea, and we want to know if you want to come with us." And he's like, "Okay, what makes you think I'm going to leave here? I'm making money here. I'm happy here. And on top of that, when I play at this bar across the street, they give me all the alcohol I can drink. I have no reason to leave." And so they start explaining to him their idea that they bought this big farmhouse. They're going to turn it into basically a juke joint is what they call it, which back in Prohibition days, that was just a term they used for basically a nightclub where people met up, listened to music, and they paid for alcohol that was illegal, right? They say, "Well, we have a reason for you to come with us, and we want you to meet Sammy." Sammy walks up and pulls up the guitar and wants to start playing for him. And then he says, "Well, don't do that here. This is my spot. You can't play your guitar here because this is where I make my money." They eventually convince him that they're going to make a lot of money.
The thing
And
is, he gets insanely threatening towards Sammy.
Yes.
Because he also says a threat, and then like I think Stack is with him. And he says, if you threaten again, I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Yeah.
No, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And then that is when the harmonic player comes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
okay,
I mean, you
okay.
have to imagine. Yeah. You have to imagine though, at this time, these people, the blacks, had brought a lot of the music from their heritage from Africa. And they mentioned that a lot in this film. A lot of that came from Africa, and they brought that with them. You get the feeling that the white culture in America, at least up until this point, had never heard anything like that, because all you had before that was classical music from Europe. Guitars were something of a new
classical
thing.
Music is European music.
And guitars came from the black culture, right?
Yeah.
And so these people were poor. They'd been working on plantations. They had been slaves before. And their only way to make their own kind of money was to play music for white people. And white people would pay for that. And so they had to be very protective of the area that they played, because that was their territory. That's where they made their money. So having another musician come to that area and play was a threat to your living standard, because now that person would be more popular than you and make your money. So this part of the movie was put there to let you understand how important music was to this culture and how protective they were over it. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they convince him to go with them, along with a whole bunch of other musicians. And they head to the plantation that they bought to start setting up. Along the way, I think it's Smoke, right? Smoke stops by a woman's house that is the mother of his dead child.
Yeah.
His ex, yeah.
Yeah.
When he gets to the property, he stops because there's a stone on the ground with a baby's handprint on it. And he stops and pays his respects because that's where the baby's buried. And then goes into the house. When he goes into the house, you meet this other woman whose name I can't remember, but she's the mother of his dead child. They get to talking. You realize that he is wearing something around his neck that's called a mojo bag that she gave him, right? Now, she is a practicer of voodoo, like the original voodoo, like not necessarily the evil stuff that we picture when we think of voodoo, but just kind of a healing medicine kind of thing. The white people would have looked at her and considered her a witch. But she's into voodoo. She's into the blacker side of magic, not necessarily anything magical, but just beliefs. And she's given him a bag that he hangs around his neck that she calls a mojo bag, that's supposed to protect him from any type of evil spirit or any type of anything. That comes into play later, as we'll see in the film. But this is just to establish who she is and how they have a past. He asks her, he says, "Hey, we're starting a juke joint. There's a lot of money in it. We stand to make a lot of money. I want you to come with us because I need you to cook. I need you to make food for the guests." Right?
Yeah.
She agrees, and she goes with him as well. While he's doing that, Stack is at a friend. I'm guessing they're just friends of his, but there's an Asian couple with a daughter who own their own like general store in another town in Mississippi. And he goes in there and says, "Hey, we're starting this thing. I want you to go along with us. Probably not a place for your daughter, so leave your daughter here. but you guys come with us because we stand to make a lot of money, and I need you to cook as well. So they agree, and they leave with him as well. And then they all go to the place that they just bought, and they start setting up. Right.
Yeah, you're pretty much something because they have this situation where then Stack is at a train station where they're still talking to this harmonic guy, and Sammy notices a white woman staring at them from far away, and and Sammy walks up to Stack, hey, there's this white chick looking at you from far away, and blah blah blah, and he looks over, oh fuck shit. Stack is like, so apparently there was something there was something going on between these two. Then she walks up to it. No, and says, am I talking to Smoke or Stack? Because she wasn't sure apparently at the moment.
Yep.
No? Okay. Then it comes out that this girl is Mary, also one of the main characters in the story, and that her and Stack were in a relationship, and for some reason he left her. No? And they've known each other for quite some time because they grew up together and whatever. No? And then she was just basically, I waited for you and you didn't come. And then he says, yeah, I told you I wasn't going to come. But she was very persistent because she wanted to be with him. And you still kind of have this way with him that he wants to be with her too. But he does not feel... it comes across that he's afraid of a mixed race relationship.
Yep.
That's how it comes across.
Yep. He disguises that, though.
No?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He disguises that, though, specifically by saying, I worked hard to give you a good life. You know, like I gave you a life with a man who's taking care of you, who's probably obviously a white guy, who's taking care of you, who has money. You're set up. What do you want with me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a gangster. I'm violent. You're better off with him. That's why I just left you. Right?
Yeah.
Truth is, he thinks it's dangerous for him and her to be in a white-black relationship at this time, which of course it was. Very dangerous.
Yeah. But the other thing is, but it was like not necessarily from his community, because as later on you can see when they're all having fun in this jukebox or whatever, and the vampire, the master vampire, comes up with his first spawnlings, they're not laying them in because they don't like them. Okay?
Right.
It's a black community, white people, and then the one guy looks over at Mary and says, "Oh, why is she let in there?" And then I think one lady just puts her hand on her shoulder because she's family. So that kind of makes it complicated because clearly his entire community knows her and is totally cool with her. No, because you see, like you have like the bouncer. No, when Mary first comes into the nightclub. No, you see the bouncer first stopping. Hey, who the hell are you? And blah blah blah. No, and then she's like, "Come on, cornbread." No, and he hasn't seen her for quite some years. Oh, Mary, come in, and so obvious. It's kind of the situation, even though it might be dangerous for them too. His community clearly does not have a problem with her. So, but still, I think it still might have been a situation that I think definitely in this time, interracial relationships were not very. A lot of people didn't like it on both sides.
Yeah. They were looked down on by both sides. The thing about Mary is that she's also she's mixed. You can't tell by looking at her
she's mixed
because she looks white, right?
Yeah,
but she's mixed because her. Go ahead.
I mean, because she mixed. It's just like this is something about her character that I dislike. Now, when she has a discussion with Stack when they're in the bar and everything, and she says, "Yeah, I never wanted to be white," and blah blah blah. Shortly before, after that, I think she tells Sammy that her grandfather was half black, or whatever. No, but this is like some situation that I never understood how somebody could just hate a part of them, or whatever. I don't want to be what I am. No, that is to a certain degree self-hatred that I made instantly. It's characteristics of people that I don't like. No, And if somebody, for some reason, hates something about themselves, even though it's something they cannot change, no, and they dislike it to a degree that actually changes their behavior and how they see the world for no specific reason. No, that is just something that bothers me about people. Yeah.
I can see where that would bother you because it is kind of a turnoff. But then again, at the same time, this I'm not going to act like I can speak on behalf of anybody because I'm white. I'm white as the day is long, Mike. You too, right?
I mean,
But
well, technically, I could make a
you're Native American, okay? Yeah,
What?
yeah, you're Native American.
I mean,
I part Native American. I get that, but
I'm Native American mixed.
at the same time,
I'm
though,
mixed race because it's the same thing with me. It's the exact same thing as with Mary. My grandfather was half Indian, so so if she's mixed race, so am I.
well, true, but it doesn't necessarily show on your features quite like it does her. She's
Exactly.
white, but she's obviously mixed. Like they found an actress who looked white, but obviously had something else in there, right? And like I said just a little while ago, I'm not going to pretend like I can speak on behalf of anyone else. All I know is that I grew up in rural Alabama, right? And we are a community of very mixed people. We are now probably more black than white. I'd say probably black probably is around the 70%. And we're actually the minority now. But as I was growing up, it was pretty much split 50-50. And so I've seen from being in high school and just growing up in that community that you were not treated. If you were mixed, you did not get accepted by either side. You were never completely accepted by the black community, and you were never completely accepted by the white community. And that creates a lot of self-hatred. It does. And the only reason I know that is because I've heard people talk about it, and I have friends that like that. And it does cause a lot of problems growing up because you don't specifically fit. Say what you want about race, even though race is it's kind of a human construct, right? But it is something that shows on our features. And our features, unfortunately, because of how human beings are, this is the one way that people can divide us. This is the one way that people can say, that's a white person. That's a black person. So automatically you have a preconceived notion of what this person is and who they are and what culture they come from. When you're mixed, there's no such thing. You are not accepted by either side, and it causes self-hatred. And that's what she's talking about in this story.
Yeah, but I know, I know even it's the time she's living in or whatever. It's just, the thing is, in this scenario specifically, I'm going to be honest. I can understand that the time they're living in, but I know a lot of people in Germany that act this way, and I even met a lot of Germans that literally disown their German names because they want to be more like some other culture, and it's just something generally, and I'm talking specifically about white people. So I don't think anybody's going to accuse me of anything. No. It's just something that I know. I don't know. It's something I never really understood, and something that, specifically, if you're not from an oppressed group, for example, I can't really get my mind around how you could just hate your self that much that you want to be another ethnicity or from another culture, even though you basically have been fine your entire life and never been a part of these oppressed groups, And it's just, I always say to a certain degree, okay, I was raised in a household where I was raised to believe that everybody is equal. It doesn't matter what you're anything. Everybody is the same. That is how I was raised, and that is what I truly believe. No? I think we're getting into very deep philosophical.
No. This is great stuff. I think that this kind of thing is probably what we need to talk about, Mike, because this film touches on the aspects of what we're talking about. And it's something that if you're going to do something like a podcast and you're going to put yourself out there to people, it's good to kind of talk about things that people are scared to talk about. I'm not scared to talk about it. And you're not either. It's just that when I say I can't understand it and you say you can't understand why somebody would act that way, Mike, we can't understand it. We can't. It's impossible for us to understand it because we didn't grow up that way. I mean, we don't.
We didn't grow up that way, but what the specific people I'm talking about in Germany also didn't grow up that way.
Right, but the dynamic you're talking about in Germany is quite different than that dynamic.
I'm not talking about minorities or people of color that go through all this shit. Obviously, that's something I can't understand. No, but the thing is, I can take myself for example. No, I have my entire life taken pride knowing specifically that my ancestors didn't wipe out the Indians.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
That my Dutch ancestors from Europe came over to the States and mixed with them. No, and I'm going to be honest that is something other than other Americans I can take pride in. No, and even though I always when I was younger, looked into Native American culture or whatever, because I always found it quite interesting, obviously, because I myself, to a degree, am Native American, my grandfather being half Indian or whatever. But
Blackfoot,
even
right?
growing up, what?
Blackfoot, right?
Blackfoot, exactly.
Blackfoot. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. My great grandmother was a Blackfoot Indian. I never met her though. No, and my grandfather was white. My great grandfather was white. No, basically. No,
yeah.
And even though that was something I always liked, it was interesting too. That's why specifically when I was young, I always enjoyed watching Indian, Native American movies and on and on and on. No, it never really made me just like Germans. No, knowing everything bad that happened to Native Americans, like I hate the fact that my skin has this color, for example. It was never something about my identity that I disowned, me being Caucasian, for example.
Yeah.
But for me, it was always my Indian ancestors or Indian heritage, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I have much genes in common with them, but maybe a few. It never made me. I appreciated both sides, if that makes sense. No, I appreciate the side that I am to a certain degree Native American, but also that I am from my heritage to a certain degree Dutch and German. And regardless of whatever has been going on between these groups in the past, for me, is something that happens in the past, and I can't acknowledge good and evil from both sides. Even though I'm going to be honest, when it comes to Native Americans, there's not much evil you can say about these people because they did not really do evil shit. It was just a lot of evil shit done to them by Europeans. No?
Yeah.
And this is also something interesting that specifically in Europe is going on when it comes to Native Americans. No? Colonization, all that thing or whatever. A lot of Europeans complain about how Americans committed the genocide towards the Native Americans. No? But this is a funny thing that I tell a lot of Europeans. You know what? When that shit happened, it wasn't the Americans. I mean, it was the Europeans who did that. The people, when that started happening, those were all European people before the United States existed.
Yep. It has to be looked at in a historical context. But I think...
Say about it what you want, but the Americans eventually stopped it. Okay, even after they stopped doing that, they didn't treat them better because even at that time, the majority of people were just racist fucking assholes. White people at least.
Yeah.
But
I think what you're talking about is a very important topic to not necessarily just this movie, but just in general with culture. There's a lot of, we're going to go off on a tangent here. There's a lot of self-hatred in cultures that I do not believe needs to be there. I think everything looked at through a historical context is good because you can kind of relate to a subject better if you have all the story, right? one of the biggest problems for me as an American, and probably for you too, as a half German, half American person, is that we live right now in a culture that I love very much. I chose to move to Germany and stay in Germany because I felt close to the culture. I like the people. I like the way things are done. It's just different, and it's different in a positive way. However, with that comes the historical context of World War II. And I got to say, Mike, like the people in this country, all the Nazis are fucking dead. All of the Nazis are dead. And here we are. Here's a culture of self-hatred that has so many good aspects to it. Like cultural ingenuity, efficiency, everything that we come to put synonymously with Germany are mostly positive things in America. There's just that one thing that we're like, but the Nazis, right? The Nazis are all dead. But in this country, there's a self-hatred here that keeps the culture from moving forward. And I think as human beings, we need to start learning to do without that. Like, look at everything with a historical context. Say, yes, these people did terrible things to these people. These people did terrible things to these people. They may have been a different race, but all of that stuff happened in the past. None of us are responsible for anything that our ancestors did to anybody. I mean, we can talk about pride and say, I'm prideful because my or your culture specifically didn't have anything to do with the mass genocide of the Native Americans, right? I can be proud because my ancestry didn't have anything to do with the enslavement of Black people. We didn't. But should we really even have to discuss that? Is my thing. Like, as a culture, why are we hanging on to this? This is not allowing us to move forward and be better at treating each other better by holding on to these historical aspects of the past. They just drag us down, right?
Yeah, because the thing, to a degree, this is a thing
I don't know.
I
hate
brought
that.
up in Germany often. No, me too. But what's brought up by Germans very often is probably also other cultures, but it's specifically bad in Germany. Is you have to remember the past, or you will repeat. If you don't remember the past, you will repeat those
Doomed to
problems
repeat it
in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Typical European.
If we don't learn from the past, we're doomed to repeat it. Yeah.
We're doomed to repeat it. Exactly. That's very, very hard in Germany. No? As far as I know, not so much in the States, but specifically because of the historical context, it's very bad in Germany, to the point where that is no longer just used as a philosophical standpoint and a way of thinking. It is used as an argument. No? And after living in Germany for 30 years, and even though I agree usually with the people that make that statement, 100% on everything, they are not using it, in my opinion, in good faith. They are not using it to actually keep in mind what happened, to learn from the problems done, or learn from the past. They're using the past as an argument a lot of times. No? And yes, this is done by both sides. No, but it's just, but we're getting into way too much modern politics now.
Well, so that's where I kind of draw the line with politics. Like, I don't necessarily think that's so political as much as it is cultural. And I think that, as much as this movie touches on this stuff in a very positive way, I think that this movie has a great message about culture and about how every culture, regardless of what's happened in the past, has an aspect of it that echoes into the future in positivity. And I think that for this movie specifically, that's music. So regardless of what's happened to the Black culture, like it's not, this movie is not saying, damn the white people. How could they do this? This is not one of those blaxploitation films, even though I'm sure that a racist person would look at this film and be like, here we go. Another fucking blaxploitation film talking about how bad the whites were to them back in the day. And certainly you can go online, you can read those arguments. But those are just unintelligent arguments. All this is explaining history at a time when things were not good for a certain group of people and showing the positive aspects of that culture that have echoed farther into the future. And then adding vampires to it, which is fucking cool, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't think, I don't think that's as much of a political discussion as something that probably needs to be talked about. There's a lot of politics, and you know what I'm talking about. You and me talk about this ad nauseum anyway, right? But there are certain political things that have a place in discourse that are going to cause people to fight. And some of those things like religion and specifically like politics that are going on right now, probably don't want to talk about it. This is something we need to talk about. This is something that is very important to who we are now that should be brought up in a very positive light. And I think that this movie does that very well. And I think not talking about it,
absolutely,
not talking about it is the bigger crime, because not talking about it does not cause us to talk to each other and understand that our differences are what make us special. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if
Of
you
course,
understand the other side of the argument and you can empathize with someone regardless of race, I don't like the word race because I don't think it exists, right?
ethnicity,
But culturally,
that's
if
the
you're
word you're
able
looking
to
for.
talk to someone else,
You're
ethnicity, right? If you talk to somebody else about the woes of their ethnicity and about what's happened throughout history, then you're better able to understand and move forward. And I think that's kind of where we're stuck right now in society. We're not able to move past all this shit. And we have to move past it. Yeah, we have to. We have to be able to empathize. We have to be able to understand each other. And I think through romanticizing culture and the positive aspects of culture, specifically music, we're doing that.
Yeah.
We're moving forward. And I have to praise this movie for that. That is the best aspect of this movie, is that it gets you talking and it gets you understanding the positives of every part of culture, specifically music. So yeah. So I'll get off my soapbox there, but I hope that anybody that is listening to the podcast and hates it when we go off on tangents, I hope you don't hate that one, because that's very near and dear to my heart. Like, I have a lot of Black friends in the metal community that I look up to, and I got a lot of friends that are from different backgrounds and, you know, at different ethnicities, and we're all just people. And one of the things that we share in common is a love of music. And I think that's important, you know? Yeah. Anyway, so where were we on the movie?
We both lost it totally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll start us off here. What's happened is that everybody is now at the juke joint that they've created. They've started cooking the food. Music started to play. People are starting to come in. The normal people that come into the club, most of them are all Black. And they don't ask to be let in. They have a bouncer at the front door who's actually a really cool character. We mentioned him before. His name's Cornbread. Yeah.
Cornbread,
I love this fucking guy. He's a fucking tank. The guy's huge. He's like 6'4", probably like over 300 pounds of just solid Black guy, right? Just corn fed. And he's at the front door letting people in, and he introduces himself and people pay at the door and they go in. The only people that ask to come in, and we know this because we know about vampires, are vampires, right? They have to be invited into a place to come in, right? And so when these three characters show up, right? When these three characters show up, we already know that they're vampires because we saw the main vampire turn them at the beginning of the film. They show up to the front of the door, and they're like, hey, they're obviously white. So you know, Cornbread already has an issue. He's like, I think y'all are in the wrong spot. I think y'all are in the wrong place. And he's like, no. You know, we heard this music from the next town over and we walked here because we wanted to be a part of it. And look, we even brought our instruments. So the main vampire has his banjo on his back. The woman has a ukulele. And then the other guy, I want to say, has, what instrument did he have? I can't remember. Was it just a guitar?
I can't remember. No.
I think it might
it was
be
also ukulele, I think, now.
Okay, so both of them have ukuleles and he's got a banjo, and they start playing a song in front of the door to convince him to invite them in. He realizes that the music is good. These guys are obviously talented musicians, but he's like, you know, it's great. I think you guys are really good, but I don't think this is where you belong. and I think we're going to have a problem if you do come in here. And so then smoke comes up from behind him and he's like, hey, what's going on here? Like, who are these people? And he said, oh, they walked from the next town over. They heard the music. They want to come in. And he's like, if we let them in, because these are white people, what if somebody steps on their shoe and scuffs their shoe? What if somebody accidentally bumps into them? You know how these people are. There's going to be an argument. There's going to be a fight. We need to turn them away. And so Cornbread does. He turns them away. He says, you guys go on. Sorry, I can't let you in. And the man vampire says, okay, we understand. But we're going to walk really slow just in case you change your mind. Right?
Yeah.
So they turn around and go away. What we find out later is that they didn't go very far. They're basically hanging around the parking lot. So the first thing that happens, I think the first person that gets turned from this group is Cornbread, isn't it?
No, Mary. Because
Mary gets turned.
Because I can't actually remember why, but Mary decides to go out to them because they have money or whatever, or talk to them at least. No? Then she sits down and has a discussion with them. And here it is a kind of creepy what happens here because the other two vampires are repeating the statements of the main vampire after he says something, whatever. And he gets down and has a small discussion with Mary, and somehow he heard that her mother died. No, he probably heard it from inside. No, because vampires super hearing or whatever, and he brings it up. No, and a small conversation starts between Mary and the master vampire. No, you still there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm scrambling here.
Okay. However, then Mary says, yeah, my mother just died and we buried her or whatever. And then the massive vampire was, oh, I'm so sorry. Duh. Oh, I'm so sorry. I really wished I would have met your mother sooner so I could have done something against that. No? So that's kind of like it's like for some reason this 2,000 or 3,000 year old vampire. No, when he sees people in sorrow, he just wants to make them immortal, so they basically live forever. No, so it's kind of like it's crazy to see like this master vampire that has so much empathy and compassion and love for oppressed people, music, everything, but at the same time is so fucking sinister and evil.
Yeah.
To the degree where you could talk about this character alone for hours.
Yeah.
No? And you still and you still would not come to actually what's up with him or whatever, because he's just such an interesting character. However, then
I love the fact the whole time that he's talking to Mary, he's drooling too. You notice that?
Yeah, but she no, not at the beginning, but she says, "Do you have money or whatever?" Now he says, "Yeah," he gives her coins or whatever. But then discussion, he leans over to her, and you can see that she sees that he's drooling. No,
right.
and she gets totally fucking creeped out by this, and just gets up. Okay, I'm leaving. Hail out of my ass. Now then she really starts to run towards the jukebox, and then you can just see the master vampire getting up and like Superman flying up, so he's probably gonna just jump right onto her. Huh? But then it cuts out. Yeah. Then I don't know. You don't know how much time has passed, but apparently it's been quite some time now because Cornbread is kind of, oh, Mary, you're back. It's been quite some time. And then Mary just stands in front of the door, is talking to him, and blah blah blah. And it's like, "Are you going to ask me in?" And this is okay now. Of course, now she's a vampire because she's asking to she's asking for an invitation in a jukebox or a nightclub she's been several times in and out during the evening. But of course, he invites her in, and this is the thing: if he wouldn't have done this, probably the entire shit show would have never gone down. No.
Right.
However, yeah, because Mary goes in instantly, starts dancing with Stack, and gets in a discussion. It's obviously and takes him to a back room because she wants to seduce him, And then they're in this back room. Then they, of course, start having sex, Then you have like Sammy wanting to go into the room and sees okay. Then he closes the door shut because he just sees that they're having sex. No,
Yeah.
Then he goes over to Stack because there was something going on that Smoke wanted Stack for. No.
Mhm.
And Sammy was supposed to get them. And Sammy goes over to Smoke is like, yeah, well, I'm not going to be able to get him over here now. and Smoke is like,
Without
what? I
telling
told you
him
to go
why.
get
Like
him.
he doesn't
They're
tell
like,
him, oh, he's in there having
yeah,
sex.
well,
He's just like, yeah.
yeah, because he's like he doesn't want to tell him sex. But this is the moment where you see it cuts back to Stack and Mary, and shortly before everything goes down, Stack is like, Mary, you're drooling. He's like, oh, it's nothing. No?
Yeah.
And then
And
in the
not
middle
just
of it,
drooling, like it's profuse too. It's like
yeah,
like a salivating animal. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
ready to eat. Like
yeah,
very odd,
yeah.
but he
And in
just
the
like
middle,
I don't
and
know.
in,
He
and in the middle
this
of it,
this part kind of blows my mind a little bit because he's like, oh, it's okay, it's all right.
I mean, okay, no. However, in the middle of it, then Mary, of course, bites Stack in the neck and starts drinking his blood. No, then in that moment, Smoke comes walking up to the room, opens the door, and then sees Mary over him sucking his blood or whatever, and is like, "What the fuck?" The first reaction is like, "Okay, what the fuck is happening here?"
Right.
Mary stands up and just looks at him and like, "This is not what it looks like." I mean, the only vampire movie I ever seen do this before was Suck, and the way they did it in Suck was absolutely hilarious. And I think it's funny that they did this here too. No,
Yeah, it
so
is the exact same scene from Suck. She stands up, and of course she's wearing a white dress, right? She stands up and she's got blood all over her face. Her whole dress is soaked with blood. She's like, "It's not what it looks like."
yeah. However, this is just she shows clearly that Smoke is also super with reflex or whatever because he sees his brother bleeding out on the ground. He doesn't even ask questions. He just instantly pulls out his guns and just blowing
Yeah,
at Mary. Just
blows Mary
everything.
away. Yeah,
He just blows her the fuck away. Doesn't even ask questions at this point. No. However, she falls down on the floor. No. And then he wants to put the guns away, and then she starts laughing. And of course, he's like,
yeah. She gets back up and starts laughing in his face.
totally fucking shocked. Like, yeah, because like, of course, he literally, I don't know how much bullets he shot into her, and she's getting up, just laughing at him. Everybody would be like totally fucking shocked, not know what the fuck to do. No,
He emptied 2 full clips into her, man. Both guns
yeah,
empty. That's 14 shots. And she just
yeah,
gets up and starts laughing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then she goes, "Oh, we're gonna kill all of you tonight." And then she just runs past him, runs out of the club or whatever. And then they're sitting there figuring out, okay, what the fuck are we supposed to do now? Because they're trying to help Stack, but he's gone. No,
Yeah.
and because he's going to die. No, so he's a lost case. What they think at this moment.
Yeah, right.
However, at this point is when Smoke says, okay, get everybody out. And then there's the other musician, they got their friend, that he ends the party. He says, okay, the party is over. Nah, please all go home. Nah.
Right.
This actually is the next big mistake they did. because
They basically just gave everybody in
the
the club to the vampires outside.
absolutely, because the vampire, the danger is outside. All they would have to do is wait until sunrise. But however, of course, nobody really knows at this
Nobody
point that
knows what's
anything
going
bad.
on. Yeah.
Nobody's suspecting what's happening. I mean, who would? Nah? All the people leave the club, and you have like only the crew, nah, and the employees there left, nah, because they know that Stack is dead, but they don't want to get everybody out of the situation. So the least people you have there, the better it is to de-escalate or control the situation to figure out what happened. No,
Right.
obviously. However, then they're out. No, then they're back into the main room, basically more or less discussing what actually is happening or whatever. And because, of course, he shot 14 shots into Mary, and she just kept on running.
Yeah.
And then the one woman that the ex-girlfriend of Smoke is like, yeah, we're dealing with some kind of evil spirits here. And I think she first calls them heights. That there's some kind of
I
evil...
forget what the word is, but it's something that I heard as a kid because the black people talk about it. It's basically like a skinwalker, Mike. It's another word for a skinwalker, but it's from that African culture. And what it would do is it would get into the body of a person and it would replace the soul with the soul of the skinwalker, and it would be inside their body, right? But then she says, but I don't think that's what we're dealing with here. I think we're dealing with vampires. Yeah.
She doesn't say that yet.
Okay.
First she's talking about heights, and she explains this is clearly something evil going on. And everybody is sitting there like not fully believing her, but they saw what just happened, and so there's something going on.
Right.
Then when they're having this discussion, they hear Stack from the other room calling towards him. And it's like Sammy goes towards the Stack, and the Stack just puts a knife through the door. And then it's like, okay, then Smoke comes up, and Stack tries to convince Smoke to let him out. He says, hey, let me out. He said, how are you? Said, I'm fine now. Everything's cool. I'm fine. You can see Stack from the suit, other side, see like he still has this big wound on his, and he's covered in blood. Of course, from it, well, he's immortal. He's an immortal vampire now. So from his perspective, he is good. But then the others are like, they're totally freaked out, and nobody knows what to do now because he was dead, and now he got back up. However, after a short conversation, they don't let him out. And after that happens, he just kicks the door open. And the door comes flying out. This is clearly the point where they establish vampires' super strength, because it's not like he kicks the door open, it flies out of the rims, and half of the rim also flies out with the door.
The door with the door frame flies out and lands on Sammy. Yeah.
And Sammy. However, that he wants to attack Sammy, but then Smoke's ex-girlfriend throws a bottle of fluid at him. He starts screaming and then runs out. They ask her, what was that? You had. And she said, holy water. No, it wasn't holy water. It was water that was mixed with garlic. God, oh yeah, it was yeah, exactly. It was garlic water, exactly.
And that was her way to find out if these were vampires or not.
Exactly. But she says, okay, we're not dealing with heights now. And this is, you can see on her face is like, he's like, oh fuck. He says her facial expression. She's like, this
and I love
heights.
Mike, I love the fact that she was in the movie because her whole background is in voodoo, right? But specifically Louisiana voodoo. She's from Louisiana. And Louisiana is where all of this vampire stuff started. So the fact that she's from Louisiana and is someone who like uses voodoo, she was able to put two and two together that these were vampires. I love that her character was there. Nice little New Orleans twist for people who are from New Orleans and watching the movie.
But at this point, she's like, okay, we're not dealing with heights anymore. These are vampires. And this is also because a lot of people are like, okay, because this is still, I guess, a time period where vampires as fictional creatures weren't that well established.
Right.
Of course, but so the people, a believer immediately, of course, but since he basically explains what they are, that it's basically people, it's a curse, and whenever they become vampires, the soul gets stuck in the body and can't leave, and that drives them to become evil, more or less. Basically. But then she also says that this is like the most powerful and dangerous kind of evil spirit we're dealing with here.
Yep.
And then she just says, okay, basically all I have to do is just wait until sunrise.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because they go through kind of a conversation about, okay, how do we stop them?
Yeah. I don't fully remember how. I mean, this is handed actually very briefly. She just basically goes through the vampire basics, tells it to everybody, and everybody's like, okay,
Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, there was not a whole lot of explanation here because there wasn't a whole lot of time for explanation, but for the time period and what was known about vampires at the time, this is all
Yeah.
historically accurate. So
Yeah.
people would have been like, okay, so there have been books written about this, and people in Louisiana believe about them. So we know a stake through the heart kills them. They do not like garlic, and they can't be in the sunlight. Those are the three things that she comes up with. And everybody is like,
Yeah.
okay, got it. It's like
Exactly.
accepted, immediately accepted that she knows what she's talking about because she's from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. And then they handle a glass of garlic around. And everybody that is still in there is supposed to eat the garlic. And that's how just to make sure that nobody else in the room is a vampire. No? Okay.
Right.
They do
Right.
that. Everybody is fine. Nobody's vampire so far. Then they notice a guy that is laying in the bar. No? In a pile of blood. And they're like, okay, shit. What are we supposed to do now? Was he bit? Was he not bit? Blah, blah, blah. And they weren't even sure if he was dead. He appeared to be dead. No? So they thought, okay, they can't take any risks. They take him outside. No? So, and by this time, no, cornbread. When they have the body, no, this is the scene with cornbread that happens before that. However, they take the body outside.
What we missed is that cornbread went out into the woods to take a leak. And kind of went back into the woods, and as he was peeing, heard voices saying his name, and that's the last time we saw him. Now he's coming back from taking a leak, right?
Yeah. No, this actually the scene with cornbread that happens before they take the body out. Oh no, it does. It happens when they take the body out because the body is laying there. Huh? The cornbread walks up to him, hey yo, how's it doing? Blah blah blah. Yeah. And hey, okay, I want to come back in. How is it, guys? No. And then they're instantly all just like, why do you want to go? Why do you need an invitation?
Why do you need to be invited in? Yeah.
Because it's girlfriend. She's like, you've been here the entire night. You've been in and out multiple times. Why do you need an invitation? And he just talks around it. No? Yeah. And then Smoke instantly says, no, dude, no. Honestly, why do you need an invitation? But he's not saying it. No? And at that point he says, no, we're not going to let you in. We want you to fucking leave. No? And then Cornbread says, yeah, but then I want my payment. No? Very carefully, Smoke pulls out his money, wants to give it to him. And then, of course, Cornbread snaps him. You see that he wants to try to bite him in the arm. Smoke managed to free himself from Cornbread and get back into the house without being bit. No? Oh, yeah, he shoots him. Exactly, right. He shoots him. The Cornbread falls on the floor. Then gets back up, and you can see how his face is like totally fucking fucked up. What would happen if you get shot in the face from that?
He's shot. This is actually a great gore effect too. Like being a gore hound, this part and then some other parts here towards the end are really well done. Like this is what it looks like if you shoot somebody point blank in the face in their jaw with a gun. There's going to be a big exit wound on this side of their face, and it's going to be all fucked up. The makeup here was really good, so props to the makeup guys and the effect guys. This was good. My only complaint there, Mike, and maybe you can set me straight on this. This might be my ignorance of vampires, but when something happens to a vampire, don't they heal pretty quick?
Depending on the situation. No, depends on how quick they heal. No, yes. Usually vampires heal, but the healing factors of vampires is also something that is different from story to story.
Okay.
No? A lot of cases, what you often see is they have like Deadpool Wolverine healing, where it just instantly heals within a few seconds. No? And in other situations, their wounds heal very, very fast, but not like within seconds. No?
Yeah. Okay.
There are other stories where vampires get any wound that would technically kill a human. You could do damage to a vampire that it technically would be much for their body to handle. No? But they would just fall into a coma state for a few minutes or hours. Then they would get back up. Then there are other iterations of vampires where their healing factor is done directly to blood. So that means once they feed, they have to feed enough, no, for it to heal. for example. So if this guy would go up and suck another human dry, that would speed up his healing. So what I assume from, we can see the healing factor, is you can see that also from Mary and Stack when they're turned. No, their original bite wounds were still there.
Yeah.
No, so I guess that under normal circumstances they have a high healing factor, and physical damage will not kill them, but it'll take longer than usual for the wounds to heal, except if they directly feed blood. No, because once they feed blood, that will speed up that process. Because later on, you can see Cornbread in multiple scenes where the wounds are barely there anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Because after this point, when Cornbread leaves, no, this is a scene where all of the vampires are now dancing and singing or whatever. No, also very.
I
cool
love this
scene,
scene.
by the way.
I love this scene.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it could be argued that this movie is actually kind of a musical, because there are some musical numbers in this film that are just awesome, and this is one of them. Like,
exactly.
You get the main vampire out in it's dark outside. It's kind of like out from the parking lot. He's standing in the middle of a huge circle of all the people who left the club that are now turned into vampires. Everybody's dancing. Keep in mind, it's interesting because these people are all Southern Black people. So their music is soul and the blues and stuff like that. But they are all dancing to a song that he is singing that is a very classic Irish jig drinking song. Right?
Yeah.
And it's a fucking awesome music number because the guy's voice is great. I would love to know if this was actually the actor singing, because it's excellent. It's done in an Irish accent. The flutes are going in the background. There's violins. Everybody's dancing, and it's a group of vampires that are covered in blood just dancing to this old Irish drinking song, which is cool as shit. I love this scene, dude.
Yeah, it is. It is great.
It's cool.
It is, because you explained this thing pretty much very good, but this thing is because in this scene specifically, using Cornbread running around and dancing with all the others, totally being able to speak fully fine, and sing fully fine, what at this point clearly indicates that his jaw has healed to the point where he can use it normally. Just you have the outside scars. Then later on, the guy that they drove out that they put outside of the house was not dead. He was just super fucking hammered. And
he's drunk.
And then they asked, like, are we sure that he was dead? Because then they notice that he wasn't laying in a puddle of blood. It was red wine.
Right. Yeah.
So so they instantly, and then the guy starts bashing on the door and like, okay, fucking shit. They run to the door, because they want to let him back in, and shortly before they can pull him back into the house, Cornbread comes and just, obliterates him, starts drinking his blood or whatever,
Right.
This is the scene where I told you where the master vampire comes up and starts this conversation with them,
Yeah.
Then you see Cornbread get back up, and you can see the Cornbread's face again. And then you can clearly see all of the shot wounds. His jaw gone is now just scars. Right. That are still there, but they're just scars. So probably give him another hour or two, and it'll be totally fine. But this is also the scene where the master vampire starts explaining everything, and he says, "Do you guys actually know that the KKK was all going to slaughter you tomorrow? I know this from those two guys back there, and they were a part of the KKK." And he says, "Hey, why are you fighting it? Why are you fighting it? Hey, we have numbers now. We could all just go. We're just waiting to kill the rest of you. Hey, and you won't be dead. You'll come back as vampires and live forever. Then we could go over there and kick the shit out of those racist assholes."
That's exactly what he says. And I can't.
Yeah.
I can't dislike this guy at all. Like, I honestly, okay. You could probably say he could have gone about it differently, but he's a vampire. I mean, he really doesn't know any other way. He's a vampire, of course. Yeah. So in his mind, he was doing these guys a favor. He He likes their music. He figures that it is a beautiful thing, and he wants it. He wants their music. He says that multiple times too. He's like, I think that you people create beautiful music, and that, you know, this terrible thing that was going to happen to you is not okay. And I want your music, and I want to help you. So why fight it? Like you said, why fight it? Come be one of us, and we'll go take care of those guys. And then Smoke, who is now a vampire, walks up behind Stack, walks up behind him and puts his arm around him and says, "Hey, brother, it's true. I have his memories now. I can see what he saw. He's telling the truth. Just come be with us, and you'll be fine." Right?
Yeah, but this is still like the thing you have going on in the story is you still do not know, is it actually Stack? Is it actually the people speaking? No? Or are they just vampires, soulless demons with the personality of them? This is still something, even though you have this entire thing going on, it's not fully clear. Even though at that point, you're still not 100% sure if he's just controlling them. Because the master vampire, whatever, this is kind of thing that's very, very blur up until the end of the movie. No? Yeah. However, no? Then you, of course, see, this is also a scene that happens before. You have, like, the Chinese woman and her husband. She sent her husband out to get the car, and he obviously gets turned. No? Right. When he comes back, he's also like, hey, invite me in, or whatever, and blah, 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 no? Yeah. And, you can see in his eyes that he's a vampire now, and then of course she's totally fucking in her mind she's lost it. She doesn't know because her husband is gone now, and her husband also tries to convince her. He's like, hey, it's really cool, just come out and join us, or let us in, or whatever. And we're gonna take care of everything. And this is also a discussion I saw people having, because if vampires can turn this fast, how were they actually going to plan on upholding this vampire community? No? And to be agree and be honest, if you have like the master vampire, he's like a 2,000 or 3,000 year old vampire. He's probably had a few thoughts on how to get this accomplished. No, I'm just going to assume that.
I would assume so. That's what I thought. I was like, he's got this planned out already, all of it.
Yeah. And however, then they just go. Then they manage to get the vampires to kind of go away, but they're just waiting outside. But they can't come in because they have to be invited in. And this is like,
there was a little bit of a threat here that was made by one of the vampires. I can't remember if it's the Chinese woman's husband who says it, or if it's one of the vampires standing behind him who says it. But she is not about to let him in or have anything to do with any of this stuff. So a threat is made that if she doesn't come outside, or if she doesn't let them in, that they're going to pay a visit to their daughter, who is back at the store.
Yes, to his daughter at the store. The master vampire, I think, makes that threat. And the thing is, he makes it he tells it to her in Chinese, so only she can understand.
Exactly. Yeah, which is cool too. I like it. He leans over and basically says, we're going to go pay your daughter a visit if you don't let us in or let us out. But he says it in Chinese, and I think that's cool as shit. Like, the writing here is really fucking good. Like,
good, but also the thing is, this is also in his intentions. He wanted to get in her mind because this is what makes him think that the master vampire saw her as the weakest link. And if somebody is going to fuck it up, it's going to be her. No? And if you know that she's emotional and everything or whatever, and all you need is basically for somebody to say, come here, fucker. Yeah. I mean,
you just invited them all in if you do that. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how you word it. You don't have to say, please come in. You say, if the intention in that you're saying is to invite somebody in, it's an invitation. It does not matter how you word it. No? And I think this is where the master vampire targets her, because he knows that she is the most emotionally affected by the fact that her husband turned, and he made that threat towards her daughter because he wanted to knock it up a turn.
Yeah, and it works. It works.
And it works. It works fine because they go in and she's like total flipping out. We have to get out of here and blah, blah, blah. And then the others are like, oh, no, we can't and blah, blah, blah. And then after a few minutes, she just totally flips out and just screams to the top of your lungs, come in here, you dumb motherfuckers, or something like that. No?
Yeah, that's what she said. She's like, get in here, you dumb motherfuckers. And that's when you see the vampire, the main vampire outside, kind of turn around and go. And then they fucking burst into the place.
Basically, he just goes, it worked, no? You know, okay, this has been where shit goes down because now they instantly run up towards their weapons and get their weapons ready because the vampires are coming in now. Because the thing is, she sent out an invitation to all vampires.
Yeah,
so they can all come in now.
So they're all coming. Yeah,
all of them. Yeah, and this is also exactly what happens. The vampires knock down the doors and run in. No, and this is where a big fight and battle starts. People are going down. Vampires are not necessarily killing the other humans because that's the thing in this situation. None of these vampires actually have the intention in killing the people. They want to turn them. No? So this is the thing because in the fight, you see Smoke's ex-girlfriend get bit by a vampire. And she's laying on the floor. And before this went down, Smoke promised her that he would stake her if she gets bit.
Right.
No?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the situation that shows you that the master vampire is not suppressing their personality, no, of the vampires he turns, because Smoke stakes his ex-girlfriend. In that moment, Mary and Stack totally fucking lose it. No, because he just killed her. No?
Yeah.
Because but you can actually see that really fucking bothered them because they wanted her to come back as a vampire.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, and now they know, okay, she's dead. Brilliant writing, by the way.
Yeah.
No?
Excellent.
Absolutely. And still in this entire thing, you can see like the master vampire basically just enjoying that what's going down because he says like, okay, it worked out. We're going to turn everybody and go over and kill the fucking racists. But then the last remaining like 4 or 5 people said, okay, we have to go up through the barn because they want to go out through the back door. No?
Right.
And when that happens, they get attacked by Stack.
Mm-hmm.
Stack bites the girl that Sammy was kind of having a thing with. Yep. No? And then she's just like, no, go, leave me, go, because she's been bitten. And she says, okay, she's going to turn, just leave me. No? Then Sammy goes and jumps out of the barn of the back door. And then Smoke attacks Stack. And they get into this fight going on.
Yeah.
No? Smoke gets the upper hand and is holding the stake right up front of Stack. I don't actually remember what Stack says. But you do, right?
Here's the thing. Smoke wanted to bite Stack. Like he had him down at first and was trying to bite him. And
Stack wanted to bite Smoke.
Stack wanted to bite Smoke. Sorry, they look exactly like. But yeah, he wanted to bite him. And every time he tried to bite him, it was almost like there was this invisible wall stopping him from biting him. Right? Right. So every time he tries to bite him, he stops before he gets to him because he cannot bite him and he doesn't know why. And the thing is, it's because of that mojo sack that he's wearing around his neck that his ex-girlfriend gave him. Right. It's protecting him from getting bitten. And so the next thing we see is that he's flipped him over and has the stake over him and is about to kill him. And that's the last time we see those two.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see what happened.
Exactly. You see Sammy running up towards the master vampire.
Right.
No? And the master vampire is like, oh, Sammy, I've been here only for you. Great that you came.
Yeah. Super happy fucking guy the whole time. Just happy. Just full of love. Full of love.
Just totally fucking happy about everything happening.
Yeah. There's kind of like I want to say it's like a lake that's on the property or like a pond or something. Because he dragged Sammy into the
Yeah.
lake, and this is kind of some imagery that's kind of, if you don't have a Christian background or you don't get the idea of baptism, you don't really understand what's going on here. But he does the same thing with Sammy that the Catholics do with people. They go out into a lake and they take them and they baptize them. They dunk them into the water and bring them back up. And what he's doing is he's taking him and baptizing him as a vampire over and over and over again, because that's the guy that he was after the entire time, because he knows he has this incredible music talent and that somehow Sammy is special. That's never really explained, other than maybe that this vampire realizes he has an amazing music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's making like a spectacle out of it. He's like baptizing him into vampirehood over and over and over again into the water. And I think that's great imagery, because he's super excited about it too. The whole time he's doing it, he's got this huge smile on his face and he's like, yeah, like keep putting him in the water, right? It's just a good scene. It's a really good scene.
Yeah, it's great scene. However, then Sammy, but he takes his guitar and slams it into the master vampire, and they have like, there's this silver plate on the guitar. No, it hits him. Then all of the vampires start screaming. No, like they're all in pain and agony now because they can feel the pain of the master vampire.
Right, exactly.
No?
Yeah.
However, no,
and the silver plate gets lodged in his head.
Yeah, okay. He just pulls it out and throws it away, and basically not really much to him, no? Like just like a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
It's how basically he acts.
Even though it's an extremely gory effect, it looks really cool too. I've actually seen this freeze frame before online and been like, oh, holy shit, whatever that movie is, I need to see it. Because it's the silver plate goes in his head right here and goes all the way down to his mouth, to where it's actually protruding through the side of his mouth, to where this whole part of his head is sliced. And it's taken this skin away, so you see all of his vampire teeth up to this part of his head when he pulls it out. It's just a really cool looking effect, dude. Like the makeup in this film is great. Great fucking gore effects.
And then this is the next scene where it also gives you how pretty old the master vampire is. Because Sammy starts citing something from the Bible. I don't remember what.
It's
this is the scene where
let me see. It's the Lord's Prayer. It's the Lord's Prayer. So
the Lord's Prayer, exactly.
He recites the Lord's Prayer, and the vampire stops him and starts reciting it back to him. And this is the part you were talking about earlier, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember those words. The people who came into my village and murdered all of my people were saying this exact same prayer, but it brings me peace to hear it."
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking crazy. And yeah, you're right. That's how you realize how old this guy is. He was around at the dawn of Christians.
Exactly. He was around the dawn of Christianity. And it's just like, I mean, of course, this guy is, you don't know how, I mean, his perspective has probably changed more times than you can imagine, on things, no? But it's just like, his entire people were slaughtered, and the killers of his people were saying these words, and when he hears them nowadays, it brings him peace and comfort. That's like, that is a level. I mean, that shows a level of character strength, Matt.
Yeah.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah. To have respect for your captors is pretty deep stuff. But I'm going to make a prediction here, because I noticed this during the movie. So, if he was around at the dawn of Christianity, or maybe not, it would have been the time that the Christians were converting everyone in Europe, which for him, because he's Irish and he has an Irish accent, a notably Irish accent, he would have been a Celt. And the Christians converted the Celts, and if they couldn't, they killed them. So it's very possible that he was a pagan from the Celtic tradition when they came along and did what they did, which is cool. Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's crazy. It's just, that is just, I mean, this character, Matt, I mean, this character does not stop amusing me. Just on every
Very,
aspect
very
of
interesting
him.
character. Yes.
It's I have rarely seen, I would say, antagonists that are this interesting, specifically vampires
Yeah.
that are this interesting. I mean, because a lot of vampires, they uphold griefs for millennia or centuries or whatever. Not because, depending on whatever story is, sometimes the negative aspects of their characters are magnified to extreme levels. But this is something
Yeah.
you can get into different vampire stories.
Well, I think he works very well because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and you might have the same opinion I have about vampires, but kind of the film that romanticized it to the point of it being a pop cultural icon was kind of early 90s, and that would have been like Interview with a Vampire, right? With the Lestat tales. That kind of
Yes.
re-romanticized
Yeah.
it into making vampires kind of
Actually,
likable characters, right?
yeah. Well, actually, it was the Vampire Chronicles, written by Anne Rice. Interview with the Vampire was the first book, and that came out in the 80s, the mid 80s.
Oh shit, that was
And
an 80s film? Interview with a Vampire?
yes, no.
Holy fuck.
The
Yeah.
movie was from the 90s.
Okay.
Yes, with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Right.
But the first Interview with the Vampire book was released in the 80s.
Okay.
And what was different from Anne Rice's stories compared to other vampire stories is it was the first popular vampire story that told the story from the perspective of the vampire. That's what made it
That's
different.
what it was. Right.
Because the majority of vampire stories were vampires are bad guys, they're soulless demons, and on and on and on. And usually it's always vampires, one way or another, in a lot of stories, were the antagonists. No? But Anne Rice was the first, it might have not been the first, but it was the first popular story.
Yeah, it was the first to
popular
popularize
story
it. Right.
where vampires were being told, where the entire story was being told through the perspective of the vampire. That was what was special about the time, because Interview with the Vampire, a vampire is telling his story. No?
Right.
And that is what made it special. No? What of course made the likable vampire version we have today, what is pretty much the majority of vampire series that come out, even though I like them, are basically Anne Rice knockoffs. Twilight is a cheap Anne Rice knockoff. Vampire Diaries.
I'm glad that we can agree on that, because I think that Anne Rice, also rest in peace, but her stuff popularized the interesting vampire from the vampire's perspective.
Yes.
The reason I bring that up is because even though Lestat was a very likable, interesting character, and also, his counterpart, Brad Pitt's character, I can't remember his name, whatever, they were likable characters. Huh?
Louis was his counter character.
But
the main character of the franchise,
they were both very dark and brooding characters that were not very happy about anything. Like, they weren't joyful characters. This main character, this vampire, is one of the happiest vampires I've ever seen before. This guy is happy as shit. Like, no matter what happens, he's like, it's not a big deal. It's going to be great in the end anyway. Don't worry about it. And I really like this character because of that. He's your not dark, brooding vampire. He's a super happy, nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It's just great. That's just great. However, we're still going on now with the scene where we just said where
he gets the guitar in his head. Yeah.
Guitar in his head. He says, "Oh, these words bring me peace." However, the master vampire kind of gets carried off with everything happening, and he totally forgets that the sun is going up. Okay, so then basically the story
also a reoccurring
with the master vampire, with all vampires dying because they were so carried off, because they were so into music and so fucking having a nice party that they literally forgot, oh shit, the sun was going up, and then they all burned to death.
They all burned to death and died, including the main vampire.
However, then there's then of course the only ones that survive the entire thing are Smoke and Sammy. No, Smoke just basically tells Sammy to go home and try to live your life and maybe halfway forget all the shit that just happened. No, because Smoke knew now that the KKK were coming. So what he does, he gets out all of the weapons he has, positions them in strategic places, then hides in the woods, waits for them to come, and when all of the KKK members come because they want to burn down the farm where the black people are in, he just with a sniper rifle just boom, 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 takes them out one by one. They start to panic, and he just walks out with a pistol. One by one. I mean, and the cool thing is, he literally managed to kill every single one of these fucking assholes.
Yeah.
No? And then at the end, when the leader is lying on the floor and calls him the N-word, no? He just says, "Do you have a cigarette?" Yeah, can I get a cigarette? No? Then he gives him a cigarette, and then Smoke just like, oh. And of course, but in the entire thing, Smoke gets shot, no? But it's never really showed if he dies or if he survives. So technically, he could survive. Technically not. No,
we don't know.
It's not really. Smoke's final fate is never really mentioned. No, okay. Then you have like a kind of credit scene going on, but in the middle of the credit scene, it just stops. No, and you see an old man sitting at a bar. No,
this is great. This ending is fantastic.
This great scene, by the way. No, because this is now you can see with the scar.
This opens up in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, exactly, New Orleans. Yep. Because we were just talking about Anne Rice. No, okay. However, you see like this old man. You could over the scar, you can see it's Sammy. No, yeah. Sammy is now an old man, lived his life and been a successful musician, has his own nightclub, maybe more than one or whatever.
I would assume so.
And then I think then the bouncer comes up to him and says, "Hey,
New Orleans." Yeah, New Orleans is kind of it's an interesting place. Like if you, I'm not going to say it's my hometown. We lived a ways from New Orleans, but we were always there every weekend. New Orleans, especially the French Quarter and Bourbon Street and all of that, are comprised with clubs that were created by jazz musicians that were famous over the time. And so you can go any night of the week down Bourbon Street or in the French Quarter and go into any jazz club and hear jazz from musicians that have been playing it there since the early 20s, basically. Like that entire culture is just old jazz musicians. So he's a jazz musician that came back, opened his own club, and has enjoyed a successful career. And what we're seeing now is the end of a normal night for him of playing for a crowd, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, then at the end of the gig or whatever, now you have like the bouncer coming in, telling Sammy like, "Hey, Sammy, there's two people outside, two fans that want to talk to you, whatever." And they seem okay, but should I let them in? And then Sammy's like, "Yeah, fine, okay, let them in." No, then you see, because this is something you're not necessarily expecting. No,
not at all.
Because then Mary and Stack come walking in the door like, "Hey, yo, how you been, man?"
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sammy looks at them like, okay, totally fucking terrified because if they're still alive, they survived somehow. No? Eventually, Stack explains how basically what happened is that Smoke didn't kill Stack. No? He just let him go and made Stack promise him that he would get Mary and get the fuck out of there and never bother Sammy again and let him live out his life.
Yeah. Yep.
And Smoke made Stack promise that to him. No? And that's exactly what Stack did. He got Mary and then just went out somewhere else. That's how Stack and Mary survive. But this is what specifically shows that the vampires in this situation still keep their original personality. It's just they have like the entire blood addiction vampire thing going on with them. Because up until because Stack goes up, smells Sammy, and is like, okay, you don't have much long time left because Stack knows that Sammy's going to die some disease or whatever. He's an old guy. No? But this is specifically shows that Stack upheld that promise to his
Yep.
brother and stayed away from Zammy so to let him live his life and came back to him when his life was almost at an end. No? And then Stack basically makes Sammy the offer to turn him. No, he says, okay, I upheld my promise. No, Smoke told me to stay away from you. Now you lived your life. No, do you want me to just, I can make it happen that you can stay around a little bit longer?
Yeah.
And then Sammy's like, no, I'm good. We're cool or whatever. And then Stack is like, okay. And then he tells them, I have all of your albums, love your music.
They're big fans. They're huge fans.
They're huge fans of his, no?
Yeah.
Well, it's totally fucking means that they have every single album. They've been to every single one of his gigs over the years, no? But then it just shows that Stack and Mary just get up and leave the bar. And that is just something, yeah, and it's just, this is crazy because neither Stack nor Mary had to give him that choice. They could have just flat out turned him.
Yeah.
No?
They did because they respect him.
Exactly. Yeah. What if you would have like a typical vampires are soulless demon situation, what they would have done.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So this is what makes this vampire movie, in my opinion, another aspect that is only specific to vampire lore. What I think makes it stand out from other vampire movies. They have created a perfect hybrid of the Anne Rice aromatized vampire and the evil monster vampire. And they've created perfect hybrid of that vampire type. No? From a character standpoint, at least. Huh?
Which is kind of the best case scenario. And that's why I like it. Like you showed the fact that they were monsters, you showed they were capable of murder, you showed that they had a bloodlust. But you also kind of incorporated the best part of vampires into the story. One, they get the knowledge and kind of almost like the entire life story of the main vampire downloaded into their own minds. So they understand history. They understand how things have led up to this point. What are good traits? What are bad traits? What can you do as a vampire to be a good person, basically? They upheld their promise. They came back and they showed that, again, through the power of music and the thing that makes us completely human, they respected him and they were huge fans of his music. And we're just good people towards the end, too. It's fucking cool, dude. It's fucking cool.
It's mind-blowing because it's just, I don't know. For example, if I was in these people's situations, I'm going to be honest. Now, just think for yourself. If you are in these people in this shoot up situations, and if you go outside, you're going to die anyway. No, if you wait until the morning, a racist people are going to come and kill you. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would have fought it, man. Now that's crazy. What would you have done in this situation? No?
Dude, I don't know. I probably would have done the same thing that Smoke did.
Probably, yeah.
Done the same thing that he did because it's too easy. If you have those kind of weapons laying around and you know what's coming, it's very easy to take out that threat, right? So I probably would have done that. But at the same time, I would have thought very long and hard about the decision because that doesn't seem that bad.
Exactly. This is the thing. Being a vampire in this specific scenario does not seem to be that bad.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because if you think about it, and this kind of goes way off topic, but if you think about it, you would have the power to preserve people that are good people and keep them around. And then you'd have the option to kill all the bad people. I think that's a great option. I think that's actually a pretty good way to live. Yeah. So you're telling me I can take out all the shitty people on the planet and then keep all the great musicians and the good people? Let me do that.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is also the question of immortality. In fiction, what a lot of people have or whatever. Yeah? Is it actually a blessing or a curse? If it's like, no, because this is, I think, other philosophers have discussions about. What a lot of vampire story. The only vampire story I know that actually gets into this is the Vampire Chronicles, Anne Rice. No?
Right.
But if it's immortality, basically you outliving everybody you care about, you love, or whatever, that sucks. But if you technically, as a vampire, could just turn everybody you care about, no, is the situation. But this is
Yeah,
like,
but that's a
personally, this
decision.
is
You
of course
like, I don't know. It
hypothetical
depends on your
situation
own
that I'm not.
morality.
Yeah.
It depends on your own morality. Like that's a choice you'd love to give people. It's not kind of like with Interview with a Vampire, Lestat gave Louis a choice. He's like, I can turn you or you can continue down this path. You'd love to be able to give people that choice. And I think that's the only
Yeah.
way I'd be able to do it. I wouldn't just be able to,
Of course.
I couldn't
Of
just turn
course.
people because that's a huge decision. On the other hand, something that these people never talk about, and I don't know why they don't, because it probably needs to be talked about, is if you're a vampire, you have to outlive everyone, right? Everyone you love gets old and dies. You continue to live. But dude, as a vampire, you can take yourself out too.
Yeah. Of
You
course.
can end your life
course.
whenever you want to. You don't have to live forever. You can just walk right
Of
out into the
course, yeah.
sunlight.
Exactly. That's also, but this is, I do not know that much vampire stories that do this. One that comes to my mind is Anne Rice, of course, because in the story Anne Rice, that is the way the most vampires die. No, they walk out into the sun when they have enough of life, they just walk out into the sun. Well, and actually, it's stated by multiple other vampires, specifically Marius. Now, this is like Lestat's mentor, not the vampire who turned him, but he's like one of the when it comes to main characters, not the oldest, but one of the oldest. He's like a 2,500-year-old vampire, and he also specifically tells this to Lestat multiple times. It's also mentioned in the movie from Armand, no, that the majority of vampires don't have the condition for immortality. No? And that the majority of vampires usually kill themselves after 1 to 200 years. Because the most people aren't made up for immortality. And this is also said by Marius, no? That he truly believes that a vampire should only create another vampire once per century. Because somehow something happens or whatever, and he has seen that if a vampire creates multiple vampires within a century, the vampires become weaker and weaker and weaker from their mind, and they're just weaker minded. And that, but it's also, this is just something that Marius brings up, no? That literally the majority of vampires never live past 200 years.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would probably choose to remain mortal just because that's easier.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
But still, in this situation, if I didn't have the soldier skills that, Smoke did, I probably would have just turned, honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I would have just turned. But I have to praise this film on a lot of different levels, just because the writing is a completely original story. The acting is amazing. The writing takes so many twists and turns that are just so great that you don't see coming. Like I said, my only gripe about this film was I wish that they had not given it away that it was vampires at the beginning of the movie. That should have been some type of flashback. Because if you didn't know that this was a vampire movie, you would have been taken aback by the shock halfway through the film. You would have been like, holy fuck, where the fuck did these vampires come from? This is cool as fuck. But they gave it away at the beginning of the film. That's my only gripe, but that's not really a gripe. That was just a choice, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I will stick by my original statement that this is probably the best horror movie I've seen in years. In years. Not just the best of 2025, but from a writing standpoint and just an overall entertainment factor, one of the best horror movies I've ever seen.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, definitely. No, definitely. Yes.
But yeah, we've talked these people to death for about 2.5 hours. So you got anything else you want to say about this awesome film?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But if I start, we're probably going to be sitting here for another 6 hours. So. I mean, I think we could.
Well,
I
we
think
can
for my
revisit
feeling,
it
we
because
could.
here's the thing. Like, I think this movie is going to be the one that we end up comparing every other vampire film to after this. Like
Totally.
this
Well,
one,
man,
this
the
one,
thing is,
yeah,
for me, it was literally up until now. I have compared literally every single vampire movie, series, story I have ever read. I have always compared it to Anne Rice because Anne Rice is
yeah.
one of my favorite authors. I love the Vampire Chronicles series, and everything regarding vampires, I always compared to Anne Rice. And just like you said, I think this is definitely something for example, and I do think really can believe that it is possible that in 20 years from now, people are going to be comparing vampire stories to this movie.
I would hope so.
I do think
I
so.
would hope so. I
Yeah,
would hope
yeah.
that I would hope that at least culture at this point can recognize a solid, good film with a good story and for it to be timeless. I don't think we've passed that point with movies, specifically not horror movies, to where it's a thing that you watch and then you don't think about it again. I know that that's a common thing with a lot of people. Like I know people that say they love movies, uh, but then they'll see something, watch it, talk about it once, and then never think about it again. I'm not one of those. If a movie's good, it sticks with me and it will stick with me for years. Years. And I'll be complete
Yeah.
referring back to this movie. And this is going to be one of those timeless ones that people do. And I really hope that they do. I really hope a lot of people see this movie. I hope that anybody that's watching this or listening to this podcast goes and watches this movie immediately because it is that good. It is that fucking good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm going to be comparing every vampire film to this one from here on out.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure what our next film is, Mike. It might be the one with our guest. But we'll have to
Yeah.
see. I have
Yeah.
to talk to her
It
this week and
might
see
be
how
the
she's
one where
feeling.
yes, yeah. She wasn't well, no? You said, no?
No, that's not it. She's a very, very busy musician, so she's got shows going on and stuff right now. And she told us to try to fit her in towards the end of July, and we just couldn't make that happen with practice and with everything else that's going on. So we'll probably have to fit her in this month sometime. I'm hoping it's the next one, but if not, then we'll pick another movie.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well, I have to see.
I'm dying to get her on because she's such a
Literally
fucking
had to.
interesting person.
Oh yeah, yeah, she definitely is. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up our list, but it didn't want to show me on my phone. But now I got it, Okay, it's opening it up, Okay. Now it's either going to be the movie with our guest, and I'm not going to say that yet unless it actually happens,
Yeah.
Yeah. American Werewolf in London.
Okay. So I'll be
That's
excited
the
either
next
way.
one on the list.
If we get to do her, if we get to do it with her, then
Me too.
great.
Me
If
too.
not, then that's also one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Oh my! It's my favorite horror movie. I mean,
yeah,
I say this how much, but it's definitely it is. It is really one of the
top
best
10.
werewolf
It's top
movies that
10
have
for
ever
me.
been made.
Yeah,
It,
it's definitely
me
top 10
too.
for
Me
me.
too. Absolutely.
It's my
And
favorite werewolf film for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And specifically because the effects of this movie were also the inspiration for the Werewolf TV series 1987. And Jonathan Landis also did the creature effects and the designing of the werewolves in both of these
Yeah, I
things.
know.
So it's
Yeah,
this is like
that's cool.
for me, 1987 Werewolf TV series and this movie was like,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. We may actually have to do Werewolf the series on this podcast as well because I feel like if we didn't, we'd be doing an injustice to horror because it is fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. And I found out that I
it
can
is
get the
great.
whole thing on Plex in HD now. So, yes, my sister found it, and so I'm gonna get her to download the whole thing so we can watch it. And if we're gonna watch it, we might as well do it on the podcast because if there are people out there who are fans of the werewolf genre that haven't seen this, then shame on you. Shame on you, because it's fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I mean, that's going to have to be multiple episodes, Matt.
That's fine. I don't care. Let's do multiple episodes.
Because the series is one season and 22 episodes.
I know. But that's fine. That's fine. We may be able to cover like 5 episodes for one episode of this show or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Right, yeah.
If I don't think we said it this time around, but if you've made it this far into this episode, and you like the podcast and you like what we do, we're on YouTube and Spotify. So go on there.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sign yourself up to become a member, subscribe, hit the bell. Leave us a comment on what film you want to see us do, because we like people telling us what they want to see. And sometimes, most of the time, we'll do it. I mean, if we can fit it in, we'll do it. So, yeah, keep supporting us, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Matt. See you guys.
See you guys. Bye.
The blackest eyes. The darkest eyes.